And welcome back, everybody. Bob Elinskas is our guest. Bob with the American Cancer Society up on Lamont Place in South Utica. We're talking about all the things associated with the American Cancer Society. And you mentioned before the break, Bob, that if everybody could quit smoking, it would drastically reduce the amount of cancer that is being faced. Also, screenings would do that.
Sure, absolutely. And there's several, well, at least one important type of cancer, colon cancer, that can actually be prevented through screening. Colon cancer starts as polyps inside the intestines, and they're not cancerous at that point, but if we can have them removed before they become cancerous, you really have almost nobody having to face colon cancer. So our message, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, but throughout the year is encouraging people 45 and older to get screened for colon cancer. Whether they do a take-home kit or whether they actually schedule for a colonoscopy, whatever they talk with their healthcare provider about and is the best choice for them, any type of screening at this point would be good. And if something turns back up, following up with a colonoscopy.
As you told me during the break, anything is better than nothing, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's pretty much been our mantra, is the test that gets done is the best one. So whether it's a take-home test or something simple, you know, a lot of people don't like the prep work for colonoscopies, and they've gotten better over the years.
They have gotten better.
But if that's still something that's frightening to you, then do one of the take-home tests instead, and if something is off, then schedule a colonoscopy. But it's better to have some sort of test done.
When should those tests start?
For average risk, you should start at 45 by our recommendations. If you have a family history of polyps or colon cancer, then you should consider screening earlier. But talk to your healthcare provider about that and see when you can start screening.
I let my first one go a little bit later than I should have, just because the thought of doing it was just so, worrisome.
Yeah.
And as you said, the prep wasn't the nicest time in the world, but that's gotten better.
Well, my sister works in endoscopy, so she can tell you that it's the best sleep you'll ever have.
Yeah.
If you get sedation. But it gives you peace of mind, if nothing else. And so you have to look past the prep and all that type of stuff just to know that you found something before it becomes much worse.
Yeah, and the prep isn't really that as bad as it was my first time.
Yeah.
And when you wake up, you wake right up. You're not drowsy or anything. So it's not as bad as we might think. I mean, I'd rather go watch a Yankees baseball game, don't get me wrong, but
absolutely,
it's not as bad as it could be if it's going to help save your life. The screenings for women, what about that?
Mammograms, yep, there's been a lot of adaptions to that over the last several years in terms of screening guidelines. What I would suggest people do is, number one, talk to your doctor and see what your family history is for breast cancer. Two, if you're confused about what those guidelines are, to give us a call. We're able to talk to you over the phone and see what is the best age to start screening. It used to be 40 and older should start regular mammograms. That's changed over the years to now maybe every 2 years starting at age 40, maybe when you're 50 every year. Depends on the person, depends on their family history. So I would suggest they call us and let us talk with them over the phone and see what works out best.
You know, the things do change. I mean, I was just reading an article the other day about taking baby aspirin. I mean, back a few years ago, baby aspirin was all the big thing. Not so much now.
No. And the good news of that is that they do follow all the trends and they follow all the health information and the statistics, and they're constantly evolving those guidelines to make sure that they're doing the best they can for the public. So, you know, you would expect that some of those will change over years as they get more data and find out. Unfortunately, with colon cancer, that used to be screening at 50, but they're finding more people are diagnosed earlier. So moving that guideline back to 45, that's a response to that, and seeing that those trends are unfortunately going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. You mentioned it, and I've forgotten his name already, the doctor that started Relay for Life.
Dr. Gordy Klatt, yep.
What year was that?
1985 is when he did the first relay.
Is he still living?
He passed away 2 years ago, and but still very involved with relay all those years. I mean, he would go to numerous relay events throughout the country, speak at conferences and things, and very much a supporter of the American Cancer Society. And unfortunately passed away from cancer.
What kind of cancer?
I believe he had a form of stomach cancer that he did have treatment for, but ultimately it wasn't successful. But certainly a strong advocate for all that we're able to do.
I like to think of him, so much so that I couldn't remember his name just then, but I like to think of him because it's a good example of one person. And if you took what he started, what was raised so far? Because it's in Europe as well, and
it's still the #1 fundraiser in the world, far and away. over those years, I mean, we're talking billions of dollars that have been raised. And if you think about how much that's been channeled into research, if we haven't had those dollars, where would we be now? Certainly would be talking about the cancer death rate being lower. So it's a credit to him and to everyone who's been involved over the years.
And if we were to look at that cancer death rate on a graph, Bob, are we seeing this?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yep, since 1990 it's down 26%, and you translate that into lives, and that's millions of lives that have been saved. And it's a lot of different causes, of course, like I said, early detection and better detection treatment methods. But you know, research has played a huge key role in that. And that's when people write a check for $10, the Relay for Life, you know, a good portion of that goes towards research.
Kathy Lansing, who was instrumental in the Boonville Relay for Life, had a saying about raising small amounts of money. Do you remember it?
Oh, sure, yeah. You know, we're one cupcake away from the cure, which is, you know, every dollar counts in some way. So even if it's 50 cents or $1, you don't know if that can fund the next research grant that we're looking to get out there and support. So, you know, it doesn't mean you have to donate $1,000 at a time. $1 makes a big difference.
Sometimes, or as Kathy would say, sometimes buying a cupcake that goes to the Cancer Society will help as well.
Yep.
Give the date again for the big ones locally.
Sure. The first weekend of June, June 1st, is Camden and Rome, Madison County and Oneida. And then for the second weekend, June 8th, it's the North Country in Boonville, Utica, and June 15th is Herkimer County.
Well, I wish you a lot of success with that this
Great.
year. Hope you make all your goals. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. Lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.